Hey everyone, Rheyo here, and welcome back to Reckless Ranger. If you're new to this series, Reckless Ranger is a series focused on getting best in slot range gear, grinding out all available bosses with the ranged combat style, grinding new PRs, and just becoming as best as we possibly can with the ranged combat style. In our previous episode, we talked about which tier 92 weapon would be best to upgrade to first as a camp weapon, the ECB or the SGB. We personally chose the SGB and we EOF'd our Eldritch crossbow, and we have been testing it out quite a bit this past week, and man does it shred. We have been doing so much Zamorak, Lord of Chaos, so I wanted to make a video just going over how much money this has made and how absurd this boss actually is and how awesome it is to do with ranged. But before we get started, if you want to follow any of my live progress, you can do so over on my Twitch channel, the link to which is in the video description. You'll also find playlist links to this series as well as the melee version of this series. Lastly, don't forget to join my Discord and subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. I just want to show you some of the rewards and some of the results from farming Zammy. So Zammy drops a lot of good just common loot, like these chaos relics, these rare ones, drops full onyxes, and a ton of the small plated orichalcum salvage, as well as the huge bladed rune salvage. And then his minions can drop some huge rune salvage as well, which is pretty nice. But essentially, my alchemizer is running 24/7. I don't think I've ever come back to an empty alchemizer, and I've honestly gotten to a point where I can't fit all of my alchables into the alchemizer because it just doesn't keep up. So I might have to make another one. But that's just been such good regular GP to come back to every single day from alchables, just so I can reap the max potential from them as opposed to just listing them on the GE. So yeah, I'll probably just make another alchemizer and take one of these disassemblers out. I've also gotten pretty lucky in the past week or so with Zamorak. Just from Zamorak, I got the pet, which was super unexpected and I was super amped about. And I've gotten 2 Vestments of Havoc robe tops. This has been a nice boost to the coin pouch. They're about 250-ish mil now ever since the rates were released. I don't know if that was the reason why they dropped. I feel like it might be, but Zamorak has become farmable. Like the meta to farm Zamorak has become 50%, which I've been doing, and then a lot of people have been doing 0% or just normal mode because it is quicker and have virtually the same unique loot rate. I personally still do 50% because my normal and 50% kill times are roughly the same, but 50% has more common loot that you get, so I prefer to do that. Maybe as I get better, I'll do the other, but who knows. But as you can see right here, we have the Essence of Finality, a blue one with the ECB spec inside of it. So this has been so helpful with getting good solid times at Zammy. As you can see, my previous PB is a 330. This was on a 0% kill, but my previous PB with at 50% was about a 345, 342, somewhere around that area. We've just been going hard at Zammy, and there's still so much improvement that we can get. What we're going to do today with this coin pouch is we are going to finally make it so that we can use our Desolation Curse. I don't think that's the best upgrade we could get right now, but we're in the latter stages of the upgrades. And our next big upgrades, and really our only ones, are full Elite Serenic, as well as the Bow of the Last Guardian, and then of course the tier 99 curse. This one is kind of cheaper. Elite Serenic isn't really my primary goal, but the Bow of the Last Guardian is going to be my next unlock, I'm pretty sure, because I just hit level 20 on Serenic, so I don't really want to get rid of that right now, and upgrading a tier 92 won't really do anything except for set me back. So that's going to be more of just a flavor upgrade at this point, I think. But Bow of the Last Guardian is our primary upgrade aside from this tier 90 curse right now. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Zamorak content because aside from it dropping the upgrade that I need, the commons are just so good. So it just makes so much sense to just grind Zammy. So as I mentioned earlier in the stream, that whenever I get an unlock that I already have, I have to use this money not for myself, but give it away. And I had a very solid suggestion from another member of the community named V, and that is to give out bonds to free-to-play members. That's exactly what we're going to do. We have enough for maybe 10-ish bonds, maybe, assuming that they buy mid. I don't know. I think they buy closer to like 70 mil. Let me see what they buy at. Okay, they buy for 68.5. So we're going to go ahead and get 10 of these, and we're just going to go ahead and give out all these bonds because the Praesolate Codex is about 700 mil. And then we'll have to also convert 10% of the current GE price and the bond value to make them tradable again. So we're going to do some of these giveaways on YouTube, and then we're going to do the rest on our next stream. So make sure to head on over to Twitch and follow me over there. That way you can just join in on the wholesome fun. All right, we have 10 tradable bonds now. Great, 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 great. So 10 bonds. Let's go ahead and jump on over to an F2P world. And I guess we'll just go to, I don't know, probably just start off at the Grand Exchange. I feel like that's a very common place to go. So let's just head on over there and see who we find. So I made a very silly, classic newbie mistake. YouTuber 101 mistake here. And I didn't plug in my mixer or my microphone. So there's literally no audio for any of the bond giveaways for all of this stuff. But essentially, I'll just wrap it up. It was honestly a very cool experience. Maybe I'm a little bit judgmental with this, but my main perspective on like being public with your, it's going to sound really harsh, but it's kind of cringe. And the reason why is I just feel like it's not totally genuine. And after saying that, I feel like I have to immediately clarify one of my favorite RS YouTubers in it. Someone I believe is 100% genuine. Like this dude is someone that actually I follow, and I think he's an awesome YouTuber. So I want to say that and just clear the air. If anyone watching is like, hey, I'm going to tell in it, bro, you can tell him, but then also tell him that I think he's genuine if you're going to rat me out. So anyway, he's genuine. He's cool. Just in the grand scheme of things, whenever I see like videos on Facebook of people quote unquote giving money to less fortunate and then having it blow up and then say that they're recording. That's kind of the idea I have of this, just in a RuneScape lens. So I just don't really like to do this too often. That being said, I didn't really expect to have any like super crazy good reactions here, but I'll be totally transparent. I gave out 5 bonds and almost all of them were just like, none of them were bad reactions, but a couple of them I was like, man, this actually makes me feel really good. There's one guy who was in best in slot range gear for F2P. He had some member skills, so I just traded him, gave him a bond, and turns out that's exactly what he was working towards. He was knocking out a couple of skills in F2P, and then he was going to get a bond. Another guy he just instantly claimed it, and he was like, man, I will never forget this. It's actually just cool to think about how even in a video game, you can have some sort of effect on someone's day. Although I am a little bit judgmental towards like being like public with your altruism, if that's like maybe not taking it too seriously. I don't know. It did truly feel good to give something away and like make a difference in a video game. So this all went really well, and I'm definitely looking forward to giving up the rest of these on stream. All right, so let's get into the actual Zammy encounter and just kind of explain what I do in a solo encounter as well as a group encounter, starting with the solo. So with solo, I will start with the edict order 241653. And when I start off the fight, it's pretty much the only time that I do death swiftness because it just starts off a little bit differently. So I'll do death swiftness, APOT if I need to, and then I'll do a couple basics, snapshot, and then rapid fire. And when I start to do rapid fire, I'll step onto the edict to start charging it. And when it's almost full, I will redo my ECB spec. And so I also start with an ECB spec. I forgot to mention that. But ECB spec, and then I will do a basic to make sure he phases, SGB, basic, and then I will do a dark bow. The reason why I do the basic before dark bow is because it will basically use the weapon speed and delay your dark bow spec. So if you use an ability in between, it kind of gets rid of that. And I believe they're going to patch that soon, but that's just kind of how it works for right now. And it gets me these phases, so it's fine. So when I finish with the witch, I'll essentially teleport back, charge the edict the same way, and this is kind of how the fight's going to go for the rest of the time. I'm just going to burst down Zammy, lure to the next pad, teleport up, kill the witch, come back down, I'll reburst Zammy, and I'll just do that all for the rest of the edicts. And it just gets progressively easier because the edicts will get stronger, your cooldowns get shorter, and then you gain more adrenaline as you progress the fight. So something that you'll notice is that whenever I'm teleporting back down from killing the witch, I will use Devo. The reason why I use Devo here is because I want to make sure that I am camping a little bit of higher health when I'm dealing with Zammy's auto attacks, because they will start to hit pretty hard, but when I use it after killing the witch while I'm teleporting, it doesn't use any adrenaline. So I essentially just get a free Devo. This is really important because you want to make sure that you have enough adrenaline to do your burst for Zammy. Also, after I'm done bursting Zammy, when I'm transporting him to the next edict, I am going to use all my bleeds and get my fragmentation shot to get triple damage, corruption shot to go off, and then dead shot as well. Dead shot is really good because whenever you are using the Guardian's Gift from Edict 4, it will heal you as well, so it's a nice way to upkeep your health while you're using ECB. When you go up to kill the witch, make sure that you use Anticipate or Freedom as you're teleporting. That way you can prevent the stun from the witch's auto attack. And then with the ECB spec specifically, even though you can't see his health, you are going to still be targeted onto Zamorak. So you want to make sure that you use the ECB spec, but you start spam clicking and surge towards the witch. Otherwise, when you ECB spec, it'll face you towards Zamorak, and if you surge, it'll put you into the wall. It's just kind of a weird, quirky interaction, but it is overwritable and it takes some getting used to. Now, the 5th edict is what spawns the bombs on the platform. Whenever you run into the bomb, you want to make sure that you are praying mage and you have Devo up to prevent the damage. You can also debilitate if your Devo is on cooldown, but I prefer to have Devo. That way I just don't take damage because you are just not healing as much with an ECB spec. I try to make sure that I will get rid of the bombs, and then when the edict is charged, I step right off of the pad. That way I don't get hit by the next bomb that spawns. And then I'll just go right into my burst rotation and just be careful of any bombs on the floor as I'm moving to the final edict. Once you kind of get all that down, it is a lot of actions, but the thing that's cool with Zamorak is that it's just kind of like clockwork. You just do the same thing over and over and over again. So every single edict is the same. And if you mess up the edict, it's pretty easy to pick out what you did wrong. Maybe at first as you're learning it, it's going to be tough, but the more you do it, the more experience you get and the more consistent that you'll get. And so this is a very, very good way to practice your rotations and practice your bursts. Now let's go over the group counter version of this. So this is with a trio that I did with some of the members of the community, but this is pretty much going to be similar with any group size because Zamorak will scale according to the size of your group, and it essentially is the same as solo as well. The only difference in groups is that you are not responsible for every little thing like charging the pads and killing the witch. You can give those tasks to one other person. So in this clip, I am just doing strictly DPS. So in this clip, we changed the edict order. Instead of going 2-4-1, we went to 2-1-4. So this changes where I put my death swiftness. I put the death swiftness right in between edicts 2 and 1. That way I can benefit from death swiftness during phase 1, as well as during the witch kill that closed alpha is handling. Once Zamorak is back down, I will essentially just do my burst rotation as I would do in solo. So I would wait till the edict is almost charged, re-ECB spec, and then I will start off with a basic, SGB, basic, dark bow. Sometimes I cut out the basics and I just deal with the delayed time because it's not always so strict, but I just would like to make sure that Zamorak is phased before I use my SGB. Otherwise, it will queue a special attack, which just kind of throws things off. It's not impossible to recover, but a lot of the times it's just not what your group's expecting. And so you can see I'm being a little bit precise with my death swiftness here. I'm not only using it at the start of the fight, I'm using it all the way throughout the fight because I don't have to save my adrenaline as much for the witch rotation. I can just build adrenaline while I'm waiting for the witch to be killed or while I'm waiting for the edict to recharge. And that will allow me to get a death swiftness out and essentially just secure those phase times a little bit better. Whenever I do place a death swiftness, I'm trying to place it to a point where I can reach Zamorak from multiple edict charge points because Zamorak's going to be lured to multiple points throughout the whole entire fight by whoever is basing or charging. Now, as a DPS during the 5th edict charge, you have to make sure that the bombs don't spawn on top of you. The way that you can tell where a bomb is about to spawn is you will see a tiny little flame pop up on the floor, and this indicates a bomb is about to spawn there. So the bombs have roughly a 3x3 area, so I could be a little bit wrong. I'm just going off of what I am seeing, but I believe it's a 3x3 area. So just be very, very careful about having a bomb spawn on top of you because not only will it do a lot of mage damage, it will stun you. You'll also have to make sure you are paying attention to when the 6th edict is charged as well because the bombs will all respawn. Aside from that, it's just a matter of phasing on time, just making sure you're upkeeping your DPS rotation and just making sure that you have enough health to deal with Zamorak's auto attacks. But as you're not the one charging pads, it's a little bit less click intensive. It's a little bit less focused compared to whether or not you're basing or killing the witch. So you can just focus on DPS and surviving. And that's all I have for you today, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode of Reckless Ranger where we took on Zammy and just showed how much money it could potentially make you if you were to get some consistent kills per hour. Zamorak is a very, very, very different fight, and it took me a while to learn how to do it effectively. And especially with ranged, it wasn't really consistent until I got some of the more expensive upgrades, but all that considered, Zamorak is the hardest boss in the game, so I'm not saying you need to have best in slot to do it, but the equipment and level requirement should be fairly up there. You can definitely do it with less equipment than I have, but the efforts and the methods that you have to do will probably vary quite a bit. All in all though, Zamorak is a very good, challenging boss, which will really challenge you to refine your rotations and just become an all-around better PVMer. All that being said though, guys, if you enjoyed this video or found some value in it, definitely make sure to give it a like or even consider sharing it with a friend. Also comment down below letting me know what you thought of it. And if you have any suggestions for a better rotation or if you want to share your Zammy experience, definitely let me know as well. Lastly, make sure to subscribe to the channel, that way you can get notified of any new content releases. Don't forget to follow over on Twitch and join my Discord, that way you don't miss a single live stream or a video release. Anyways guys, I'm Rheyo and I'll see you next time. Take care.